My name is Brian Lobel, and I am a former American camp counselor turned performance artist, which is a definition that I don't think I used until recently when I realized that that was really what I was doing.
10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, on November 1st, 2001, I walked directly back from the doctor's office after being diagnosed with testicular cancer and began writing what would eventually become the opening line of a play. Ball. I'm a 20-year-old boy whose last concern should be bumpy balls. Problematic? A testicle as big and hard and bumpy as mine, I would say that that's something more than just problematic.
My first work was about having cancer as a child, which was the first few years of my work, touring to medical schools and hospitals, and really started a lifelong interest in performance around the body and autobiography and what it feels like to look at each other.
I'm looking for 5 people who are willing to medically appreciate my genitals. I'll be providing a shot of whiskey and a latex glove.
All of my work starts from a personal need, and then through exploring that, I figure out how that might relate to things that people are really thinking about, politically, socially, kind of theoretically. And then slowly try to build a project which allows me to both fulfill that personal need and to explore that thing that might relate to other people. So this show is called You Have to Forgive Me, You Have to Forgive Me, You Have to Forgive Me. It's part of a trilogy of work that I created about the 10-year anniversary of the final Sex and the City episode, which sounds frivolous, but in the years that I've been making work, I made a trilogy about having cancer, about the death of a loved one, and this is the trilogy of work that is the most emotional for people. So before I arrive, audience members complete a 92-question survey. That survey is adapted from each of the questions typed by Carrie Bradshaw on Sex and the City. Some of the questions are naff. Things like, which came first, the chicken or the sex? But some of them are incredibly profound, like how do we know when enough is enough? So we then change into pajamas. People can choose a various array of pajamas that I've worn throughout my life. Then I diagnose them with an episode of Sex and the City to watch together. It's funny because it's an hour-long show, 1-to-1, which is not the most economical with time and space, because you need time to really sit with people. And I'm interested more in what happens during the half hour when we're just lying next to each other or sitting next to each other, sitting in silence. It's a very rare thing that you only do with your most intimate people. And I don't necessarily mean lovers, but I mean your friends or family. So I created this piece of work to try to think about our love lives, our sense of intimacy, our relationships with others, and also what comfort means and what catharsis means. I think that audiences experience me just like this. There's no character. I try to go for as genuine an engagement as possible. And for some people, that is really frightening. Some audience members, that's really frightening. They much prefer to have a big, heavy fourth wall between us and them. And this show, it's very intimate because it's actually asking them to kind of do nothing with me. But I think the relationship with the audience is always challenging and playful, but also very respectful. I'm not interested in traumatizing audience members or making them feel scared. Fun or humor are really important aspects of the work because I'm more funny than I am serious as a person. But then it ends up that I have very serious topics through a lens which is interactive, generous, humorous, loving. That's the vision for the work.